Live, local, late breaking. You're watching KOLD News 13 live at 10.
Whether you're beginning your holiday shopping or just picking up groceries at the store, you may find empty shelves and higher prices. Thanks for joining us on this Thanksgiving Eve on KOLD News 13. I'm Brooke Wagner.
And I'm Dan Maries. Epic port congestion and a lack of truck drivers are contributing factors. KOLD Investigates. Shaley Sanders breaks down the timeline of the supply chain disruptions and how it's impacting local businesses.
I'm very much a classic car enthusiast myself.
Steve Lewis turned his passion into a career.
I've had cars over the years that I built.
Lewis owns Arizona Glass Repair and says he spends a lot of his time on the classics.
Seeing the job when it's finished on the old car is very rewarding, and the people that I meet in the old car circles are just fantastic.
Lewis says in the 34 years he's been doing this, it hasn't felt like work at all.
It's relaxing to me to be able to go to my shop and do the work and restore all the windows and put the new pieces back on.
But Lewis says lately he's had to break the news to his clients that those restorations may take a little longer than expected.
Stuff's on back order. It's not available right now.
But it's not just the classic cars.
A late model Chevy truck, which is one of the most popular windshields out there. I called for one to my supplier one day and he says, I don't have any, I can't get any right now. It may be a couple weeks before I do have some.
Forcing him to pass up on some jobs altogether.
Well, a trucking company called me up. He needed 3 trucks he needed windshields in. I called my suppliers up, they're not available. So I called the Peterbilt dealership directly, and they said they're on national back order and they didn't know when they would have any in.
News that doesn't come as a surprise to Ken Geyer.
Actually, it's given me a lot of material to use for my classes.
A lecturer in operations and supply chain at the University of Arizona.
How many industries would you say are being impacted by this?
I'm not sure there's any that are not being impacted by this. It's been caused by everything from the pandemic to environmental. We had bad winter last winter in the South and Texas. We had ransomware things going on.
Just one thing after another that he says had a domino effect.
Has there been a time like this in recent history where we experienced it so widespread?
Not that I'm aware of. You name it, there's a shortage.
When did we start seeing the first signs that of supply and demand and we're going to have some problems here?
I really think it was probably sometime mid to late year last year with the chip shortage. I think that was the first time when suddenly auto companies couldn't get microchips to make, finish making automobiles. That was really the first kind of red flag that we saw.
Could you have predicted that we would be where we are today?
No, not at all. I would have thought that would have been maybe 4 or 5 months of a slowdown in production for automakers and the chips would start flowing again.
Unfortunately, the chip shortage has continued to drag on, though just last week, chip manufacturer Global Foundries announced a collaboration with Ford Motor Company to boost chip supplies for Ford and the U.S. automotive industry.
I think the biggest problem right now is really, I would say it's a toss-up between labor and transportation.
Geyer says people aren't in a hurry to get back to work. It's a statement backed up by the latest data released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which shows 10.4 million job openings on the last business day of September, and a record 4.4 million people quit their jobs. While experts disagree on when this supply chain crisis will end, Geyer offers his prediction.
It took us a while to get to where we're at. This didn't start, a few months ago. This started a year and a half ago, and it just became where it's at today. So it's going to take us some time to get out of that. So I think you're going to start to see next year, things will start to improve.
Giving small business owners like Lewis the hope they need to remain patient.
I'm an optimist. These companies will come through this as materials become more available as time goes on.
Shaley Sanders, KOLD Investigates.